Welcome to the Servant Edge. I'm Stephanie Mikulashek, founder and CEO, and I have an amazing group of women who stand with me to make sure that women's voices are emboldened and heard. Welcome to the Costa Rica Leadership Leap, a unique immersion experiencing happening this November in beautiful Costa Rica, being held at Finca Mia. Why would you go all the way to Costa Rica, besides the fact that it's a beautiful, amazing country, to have an experience? Well, we're going to walk through that today and what makes a Servant Edge experience distinct. But to be clear, you're not coming here to escape. You're coming here to listen, to finally hear your voice and let it go out into the world. So to begin, let me talk about what a traditional writer's retreat looks like. You can see on the slide, typically a traditional writer's retreat will have a sense of escaping your normal routine. You might be trying to hit a specific word count. You might be trying to write a certain number of pages. Your focus is on the craft, maybe grammar and line editing, and often your environment is isolation in a quiet room where you can write, and your output might be a private draft. A leadership leap immersion with the Servant Edge is quite different. You are becoming the author who will confidently stand behind your work. This is our primary goal, moving from sitting behind a desk to becoming an author and your public presence. It has a focus on your voice, your visibility, and navigating the consequences of public leadership, which comes when you publish something. Your environment is a living classroom that's just as important as the community of women that will be surrounding you. This living classroom will merge deeply with the culture, the land, and a curated community as well. And finally, your output will be multiple customized action plans for speaking, publishing, and your public presence, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. So this experience, the Leadership Leap, is in fact the threshold of visibility. When you go from writer, or even calling yourself a writer, to a published author, to the public presence and leadership that comes from having your name on a written work out in the world to see, is an identity shift. And it can be profound. To go from a hidden voice to a visible leader, the fundamental question of this journey shifts from, can I write this? To, am I willing to stand behind it? Stepping into this level of leadership requires more than a 9-day escape. It requires an unbroken container of preparation, immersion, and integration, and that's exactly what we offer at the Servant Edge. Before you even depart, long before you're on that airplane, we will be communicating with you and sharing with you various bits of information, including what to pack, a cultural guide, and then 1 month before we leave, you will be part of a private creative circle. This means you're going to be in a virtual group with the other participants that are going to be joining you on this journey. And we'll be going through some preparatory exercises, conversations, sharing, setting intentions, our goals, as well as going over logistics and other details that you'll need for your trip. You'll also have a one-on-one clarity call with me. I've been an executive coach for over 25 years, and we'll be talking about what you specifically want to achieve during this immersion. You'll also have access to a private online group. This will be a community space where you'll compare notes, photos, packing lists, and an ongoing community moving forward. And then finally, there will be post-immersion accountability calls, individual calls with every single person to check in with you. How are you doing? What do you need now for support? This allows you to arrive anchored, not overwhelmed. With that clarity call, that's when your transformation begins. That's when we are already on our immersion program. That creative circle is already when you've joined a community of people that will be your lifelong friends as you're moving through this journey, this identity shift. and obtaining real skills. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. So what are those skills that you'll be achieving as you go through this experience? So let's get into the immersion itself. You're going to have your first initial arrival on a Saturday evening. You'll be staying in a beautiful hotel in San Jose. And the following morning, we're going to be taking a shuttle bus down to Finca Mia in the southern part of the country, about 4,000 feet up in the mountains, where it's warm, not hot, cool in the evenings, but never cold. You'll be having a chance to meet your facilitators, including myself, as well as publisher Sierra Melker, who has worked with over 400 authors. She has award-winning and nationally and internationally recognized bestsellers under her belt and specifically works with women writers of nonfiction. You're also going to have a professional ghostwriter who specializes in partnering and working with women writers who prefer fiction. She will also be there to meet with you and have conversations about your work and ready to look at whatever it is that you're bringing to the forefront. You're going to have PR and communication strategist Susan Ellison McGee, who has been working in this space for over 3 decades, and she will be available to also craft with you a marketing plan by the time you depart. So these individuals, as well as myself, will be in your container with the other women in the group to work on those first bits of defining that identity shift and working through what's going on. We'll be talking about your presence, both on a book tour, your presence when talking about your work, and what happens when we have that page that's ready to go to print. We're going to talk about the courage that's involved when you become an author and looking at that inner critic that seems to rear its head at the most inopportune times. We're going to be doing public speaking together. We're going to talk about your marketing strategy so that when you do publish, you have a plan in hand as well as a tailored action plan for your next steps. This is both an identity shift mindset immersion as well as a skill-based program where you are going to be meeting with the experts, obtaining tools and resources so that you can move from sitting behind the desk, private writing, to being that published author, getting your voice out into the world where the world needs to hear it. Sustaining that leap is just as important. So when you come home, we'll be having post-immersion accountability calls. And of course, as I mentioned, you'll be part of that private community inside of an ongoing ecosystem, which is crucial to be with that same group who has walked through with you through that identity shift and help you continue on your path of standing tall when you're on that podcast, when you're on that stage, or when you're on that book tour and receiving that award. So what will you carry home? A foundation, a grounded sense of authorship and authority, the craft, skilled expert review of the specific work you bring forward, the voice, hands-on speaking practice during the immersion, and a tailored marketing plan. The container, a lasting network of deeply aligned accountability partners, and finally a path, a personalized, concrete action plan for your immediate next steps. There is no other immersion experience that we have ever seen that offers this level of a comprehensive support, both the mindset shift as well as the skills and plans that you need to move forward. Who are your guides? Well, myself, as I mentioned, Stephanie Mikulashek. You can see a bit of my bio on the slide. I was a U.S. diplomat, worked in the private sector. I am a best-selling published author. We have Sierra Melker, our publisher of Red Thread Publishing, founder and CEO. Susan Ellison McGee, our communication strategist. And of course, as I mentioned, Susan Baracco, who is also our professional ghostwriter, will be joining us. Our job is to make sure that you are well taken care of through this experience. That is why our focus is a frictionless experience. Everything is included during your time with us. This means you do not need to worry from the moment you land at the airport in San Jose until you depart 9 days later. We arrive on a Saturday. We'll continue all the way through the week, and then you'll head home on Sunday. 8 nights accommodations, all of your ground transport, all excursions, all ceremonies, all of your meals, the entire curriculum, all of the sessions with the various coaches and publishers and ghostwriters and strategists, and integrated guidance. The only extras that you'll need to cover is, of course, your airfare. We highly recommend trip insurance, and then any incidentals that you may want to purchase for yourself during the experience. We'll be staying at Finca Mia, an absolutely stunning location and venue in the southern part of the country, as I mentioned, where the water is crystal clear. You'll drink it straight out of the tap. We'll have this entire space to ourselves so that you have plenty of space to write, think, talk, share, laugh, cry, and all the other deliciousness that will be happening during our experience together. To secure your place, time is of the essence. We have early bird action, which expires May 15th. That's a hard deadline. If you want to get in, you need to put down your $500 deposit by May 15th. At that point, you can talk with me about what kind of cabin you would most appreciate. These are beautiful cabins with linens. You'll have either in a luxury cabin where you're on your own or you'll share. And there's also an eco lodging if you're so inclined, which are also incredibly lovely. And we'll talk more details about that once you make your reservation. So again, early bird special by May 15th. Get your $500 deposit in. Then you and I will have a call. We'll talk about what works best for you and what you most want to achieve by the time you finish this powerful immersion experience. So I leave you with this question: what becomes possible when you finally give voice to what matters to you? Because what you have to say matters, my friends, and is part of the legacy that you give this world. Don't stop. Get yourself on this immersion experience. It is a comprehensive time together where you will be learning how to stand behind your work, get out from behind the desk, have a plan of action forward, and an amazing group of community of women that will be right there cheering you on. I can't wait to see you on our first call together.